Hello, I'm Robin Henning, and welcome to another Exchange Life Nugget of Truth. Have you been praying for a loved one's salvation for a long time and maybe been tempted to give up hope that they're ever going to come to faith? Well, please don't give up. Let me share with you an encouraging account from 2 Chronicles chapter 33. It's here that we learn about the life of Judean king named Manasseh. He was the son of the really godly king, King Hezekiah. But he was born after Hezekiah had learned, hey, he got a message from the Lord saying, hey, you're going to die, get your house in order. He cries out, the Lord has mercy, gives him a few more years. And during those few years, Manasseh is born. So he only gets to see his dad operate in godliness for about 12 years, because at the age of 12, he becomes king. And at some point, Manasseh decides in his youth that he's going to pursue the things of darkness. Hardcore. Today we would call him a Satanist. And he chose to convert Yahweh's temple into a temple for Baal and many other false gods. And it got so bad that he even offered his children as sacrifices in the fire in the valley of Ben Hinnom. Now prophets were sent to him to call him to repentance, but he refused to listen. He didn't want to hear anything about it. His satanically inspired idolatry grieved the Lord so much that he sent him a personal message of judgment that was coming. You see, the Lord was sending, and did indeed send, the army of the Assyrians against him, and they captured him and took him prisoner to Babylon. So while he was there, he had plenty of time to think, and he chose to humble himself before Yahweh, and he cried out to Yahweh. And Yahweh, in his mercy and his grace, he heard his cry. And he allowed him to return to Jerusalem. He was reinstated as king. And once he was there, he rebuilt the city walls, and he reinstituted the worship of Yahweh in the temple. And he cleaned out the temple of all the idolatry. He cleaned out the whole land of Judah of idolatry and led them back to worshiping Yahweh. Beloved, even though Manasseh grew up in what we would call today a Christian household, he grew up in a Yahweh-fearing Jewish household, all during his formative years. Nevertheless, he rejected it as a teenager, and he pursued the things of darkness. And it got so bad that under his leadership, the land was so polluted that it was even worse. According to God, it was worse than the previous inhabitants, the Canaanites. And we're told that the Lord still, while he forgave Manasseh and restored him, he didn't forget what happened. And the consequences were still going to unfold for the land of Judah, and eventually they were indeed, as a nation, carried off to the land of Babylon. But while he was in prison, we know at some point God reached him. Perhaps there was this realization that not only was he a physical prisoner, he was a spiritual prisoner to the lies of Satan. That he had been wrong all these years to follow these false gods. And so the Lord brought him back. He demonstrated the fruits of repentance, and there was restoration, at least in his life. But beloved, my whole point about telling you about Manasseh is that if God can reach him, a hardcore Satanist, he can reach anybody, even today. So don't give up praying for your loved ones. He can reach them too, no matter where they're at. So boldly pray that the Lord would bring all things into their life, to bring them to the foot of the cross, to the realization of their bondage to sin, that their sin is a problem they cannot solve, that only Jesus can solve that, that they would put their faith in his shed blood to pay the penalty for their sin, that they would demonstrate faith through repentance and follow him. It can still be done in their lives. So don't give up praying for them. If God can reach Manasseh, he can reach them. His grace is so persistent and able to penetrate the darkest of hearts. Keep praying for them. Every opportunity you get to share the gospel, take it, share it boldly. Time is short, folks. He's coming for us soon. So let's be diligent at living the gospel and sharing the gospel with those around us, especially our loved ones. I hope this encourages you. I hope you have a blessed week in Jesus. We'll see you next time.